do in the other studio. He'll take care of you all the way through until 10. He's a smashing fella, as you know. Thank you, Ed. I should get one of those private plates, diplomatic plates. He'd love that on the motorway. Let me tell you this story. This is a nice story. How would you feel if you had to spend a weekend in a dog kennel? Well, that's what some members of Buntingford's Rehoming Animal Telephone Service did this past weekend. The Rescue and Rehoming Service, also known as Rats Rescue, is 37 years old this year, and to celebrate, they've held a sponsored 37-hour kennel sleepover. Jenna Jones is from the rescue. Jenna, very good afternoon to you.
Hello there, how are you doing?
I'm very well. I'm interested to talk to you and hear your experience. Can I just ask you, Jenna, what do the dogs think of it?
Well, at first they were slightly confused, wondering what we were doing, rocking up with sleeping bags. But in all seriousness, they really, really loved the event. I think, the dogs that are in our care, all they really want in life is to have the comfort of human company and affection. And they certainly had that in abundance this weekend.
But if they get used to it, doesn't that create a problem?
No, they do have lots of attention anyway, just not overnight. So it was one of our concerns when we were organising the event. How will they feel the next day when they're not there anymore, when we're not there anymore, sorry. But they were all absolutely fine the next day. They loved snuggling up to us in our sleeping bags. So really, it did them a world of good.
I bet it did. Jenna, talk us through your service. What is it you do at Buntingford's Rehoming Animal Telephone Service?
So we are a small charity with a very big heart, and we rescue and rehome unwanted and abandoned animals in the local area. So if there are people who unfortunately can no longer look after their pets, we're here to support them and to find a new home for their animals.
I hope you don't mind me asking, of late, has there been an increased demand for the service you offer?
Yes, there has. Very, very unfortunately. What we're seeing at the moment, particularly in our dog section, is that we are having quite an influx of what everybody's referring to as lockdown puppies at the moment. So they're usually, when they're coming in, they're anywhere from 6 months to a year old. But we feel very fortunate to be in a position to be able to help these animals and help them to find their forever home.
It's so sad, though, because, you often hear the expression, we don't deserve animals. These poor little creatures, they just want to be loved. They just want, affection. What they don't want is to be abandoned because someone's changed their mind. I know it can happen, but the numbers we're seeing over the since last year, of course, it's just not fair.
I agree. And the advice that we're giving out at the moment to any pet owners, it's a bit late, obviously, because lockdown has happened, but moving forward, if you are thinking about buying a puppy, for example, think about your circumstances. Are they going to stay the same? It's a commitment of at least 15 years, and hopefully longer. And to also look into the breeds of the dogs that you're looking to buy as a puppy as well, and make sure that the traits of that breed do match your own lifestyle and your expectations.
Because it is a lifelong commitment, and you have to commit, because they all they want is to be looked after, and they'll give you countless love. They don't unconditional love.
Yes, it is unconditional, and we can see that some of the dogs who arrive in our care have been mistreated, for example.
Oh no!
And it surprises me, it stuns me every day to see how much love they have to give and how much faith they still have in us. It's incredible. There's nothing better than the love of a dog.
So you struggling for things to find on later on YouTube, and I stumbled across these videos of dogs that are being mistreated and they're rescued, and you don't want to watch it because it's heartbreaking.
No.
At first, they're cowering, they're sad, they're heartbreaking. It doesn't matter what breed it is, whether it's a small one or a big one, cowering, and then they go to a forever home, and then all of a sudden they're reborn.
It is. That's exactly the case. I'm fostering a dog at the moment, a gorgeous little terrier called Minnie, who, when she arrived, was utterly terrified. She couldn't be touched. She's currently lying on my sofa, having the time of her life. She's completely come out of her shell. And that's what we're able to do. The love that we can give to these dogs, they absolutely deserve it. And we feel very fortunate at Rats to be able to turn their lives around. It just makes everything worthwhile.
We'll talk about the fundraising and how people can chip in if they want to. But do you have homes, people that will take in? Because again, the people already, if they've got if they're taking in one of your dogs, of course, to rehome, they've probably got other dogs, and there's a limit to how many dogs someone can look after, surely.
Well, that's debatable. But yes, of course. A lot of our dogs are able to be rehomed with other dogs. Some of them actually live in the kennel together as a little pack, and they have the time of their lives when they're all together. But, in terms of rehoming, we have to look at the individual situation of the person who would like to adopt the dog. Are they suitable for the dog? And also, equally importantly, is the dog suitable for them as well? And what we try to do here is to find the perfect match.
And you have plenty of people who come forward and offer you their homes, basically.
Absolutely. We're so
Amazing.
lucky to be part of a wonderful animal-loving community. So all of the animals in our care are able to find a home. Even the ones with the most difficult behavioural problems do manage to find their happy ever after.
Wow. Okay. So these 37 hours you spent in the kennels for the sleepover, did you suddenly realise, or did you know that some of the dogs snore really loudly?
Oh, my goodness. There really was one who snored. We've got Max, who's a big crossbreed, and he wasn't in the same kennel as me. He was opposite, but I could hear him all night. He was snoring away. So he kept us all awake.
Yeah. Listen, I've got a little chihuahua, and she snores like you would not believe.
Always the little one.
It just so the fundraising, that's the key thing. That's why we're having this conversation. How can people help you going forward?
So, going forward, I would suggest definitely having a look at our website, which is www.rat-animalrescue.co.uk. You'll find out all about us there. And on the homepage, there's the opportunity to donate towards our fundraiser. I also recommend following us on Facebook and Instagram. We're very, very active on there, providing updates on all of the animals in our care. And there's always a way to help. It's not just about donations. We're also always on the lookout for volunteers. There's a job in inverted commas for everybody here at RATS. So definitely follow us on social media and keep up to speed with what we're up to.
37 years, you've been going quite some time. That's amazing.
It is, and that's why it's called the Rehoming Animal Telephone Service, because obviously back in 1984 we didn't have the internet, so everything was done by telephone.
I'm just looking at your webpage. You've got some of the dogs you've got there. They're dead cheeky. They've got a way of looking at you in a dead cheeky way.
They are adorable. We feel very lucky to be able to work with them and to help them. We have some beautiful, beautiful dogs in at the moment.
And like children, no one will ever admit it, but do you have a favourite pet? I mean, I don't know how many dogs you've got. No, because people won't tell you, but they've all got a favourite child. But do you have a favourite dog?
Well, I've got my own dog, who is a rescue, actually. His name is Dexter, and he's a Westie. And he's an example, actually, of how far you can really come with your animals. Dexter and I completed a therapy dog course. So he's a trained therapy dog now, despite the fact that I didn't have him from a puppy. So the capabilities of these dogs and what they can achieve with our help is just amazing. But we certainly all have our favourites at the kennels. We call ourselves the kennel mummies and daddies, and we've definitely got our own best buddies there, who we're always sad to see when they leave, but also delighted for them at the same time. It's very bittersweet.
Just for my own curiosity, Jen, I really enjoyed talking to you. Listen, we had our dog, our Chihuahua, when she was a puppy, not a very small puppy, because we got her from a responsible breeder. We weren't even allowed to take her home when we wanted to. It was all very well planned and thought out, and due care and attention, which I fully endorse. But when you rehome a dog, how quickly can it take for them to accept you and realise that you love them and they love you back? I mean, because if you don't have them from a puppy, is it a bit harder to have that bond?
It is, and that is such a good question. So here in Rescue, we have the 3-3-3 rule. So obviously it depends on each animal, but we usually say it will take 3 days for that animal to at least work out where they are, what the hell is going on. And then it takes 3 weeks for them to start to understand where they are, who you are, and to establish a routine. And then it takes up to 3 months for them to really understand, this is my home now, this is where I am, and this is where I'll settle. And the number one tip that we have for anybody who's adopting an animal is just to leave them be. Let them work out where they are. Let them work out who you are, and to establish their own routine and feel comfortable in their own time. It's all about giving them space.
Jenna, pleasure talking to you. Just plug where you are once again, please.
So we are the Rehoming Animal Telephone Service, and our website is www.rat-animalrescue.co.uk.
Thank you. Wish you well. Thank you,
Thank
Jenna Jones
you.
from The Rescue. Thank you for your company all afternoon. It's gone really quick today. And Jenna,